What's going on, you guys? It's the FPL Penguin back again with another video for you all, another FPL video. And if you do enjoy this video, please hit that like button and please do consider subscribing as well. Today's video is going to be all about players going under the radar. So I did something kind of similar a few days ago, but that was a budget one. That was a budget players like gems. I still think these are gems. These are technically not budget, but these are less than the big premium players everyone's going for. So these are players under the radar, very low ownership at this very moment of time. But yeah, let's get straight into it, guys. Hope you're doing good. So we're going to start off with the goalkeepers. So the goalkeepers I've gone for Meslier and Ramsdale. So Meslier, I think Leeds are going under the radar. I really do think so. He picked up 106 points last season. He's 4.5 million. A lot of people going for Raya. A lot of people going for Sanchez. Just Mendy, maybe a 4 million goalkeeper, or maybe Sanchez and Steele and all that jazz. We're hearing news as well. Brentford, I think they've signed a new goalkeeper. I think it's been confirmed. A new goalkeeper, another goalkeeper, should we say? And so it's all come out now. People worrying now, is Raya still going to be number one? Is there going to be rotation? There could be rotation now. So Raya, people with Raya in your drafts, you might want to reconsider owning him going into game week 1 now after that news. So Meslier could be a good alternative. 2.5%. Look at his record as well from the last 2 seasons. In his first season with Leeds, got 11 clean sheets and 154 points. Then the second season, not as great, 106 points with only 5 clean sheets. Picked up at 20 bonus points in his first season, 8 bonus points in his second season. Quite a lot of saves, more saves last season than he did the season before that. And I feel with how Leeds are building at the moment with some decent signings at the moment, I think Meslier it's definitely going under the radar. I really do think so. Like, if we look at the fixtures just quickly, they've got Wolves, Southampton, and tricky one with Chelsea. Then they've got Brighton, Everton, Brentford, Notts Forest, and Man United. I think the first 7 games for them, for the 6 out of those 7 first fixtures look decent for them. Look decent. And probably against teams that don't really score that many goals as well. Wolves don't really score many. Southampton don't really. Brighton are 50-50. Everton. So I think Meslier is definitely somebody going under the radar for sure. As you can see, the fixtures there at the bottom as well. Wolves, Southampton, then Chelsea, and Brighton. Everton, definitely someone to consider, guys, especially if you had Raya and you're a bit 50-50 about him now after that news. Another one as well is Ramsdale. He's a bit more hefty price. He's got Palace, Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham, and Aston Villa. Last season, he's just under 10% at the moment. He got 12 clean sheets for Arsenal. I'm trying to remember now when he signed for Arsenal, but we also play with Sheffield United as well, and it all blah, blah, blah. 5 clean sheets the season before that, and 5 clean sheets before that, and an assist as well in the 1920 season. I still think Ramsdale's a good shout to go for. I know they signed this Turner lad from America, but he's not going to pick Ramsdale. Who knows? He might do. I'm not sure. But definitely Meslier is definitely a lovely one to look at. And Ramsdale, another one to look at as well. So have a little scroll down. We'll go to the defense now. We've got Luca Dean. And we'll talk about the two of them, Luca Dean and Mings. Both Aston Villa play for the same team, both teammates. We'll talk about Luca Dean, 5 million this season, same price as Matty Cash. 4 clean sheets last season, then 9, 8, and then 5 last few seasons going back. He loves to get those assists, doesn't he? He loves to get those assists. I think he's definitely going under the radar as well. We're saying Bournemouth, Everton, Crystal Palace, and then Mings in there too. He's 6.5% owned. I like his stats. You can see right here. Last season, 1 goal and 4 assists, 2 goals, 2 assists before that, 2 goals, 2 assists before that as well. And I think he's a lovely shout as well. So 2 good budget under the radar players. I think everyone's looking at this premium defense with James and Chilwell. We don't know how Chelsea's going to do. We don't know if they're the right players to go for, and everyone's going for Perisic. I think people are ignoring players like this, like Aston Villa assets, Brentford and all that we'll get to in a minute. But I think it's not necessary to go premium defence. Okay, it's template and it's keeping up with for the first few weeks at other managers, but have some fun with it. And Aston Villa, they put Diego Carlos in. I think they're just making that defence a bit more tighter now. So have a good think about it, guys. Don't panic and don't just go with what your heart says. Go with what your heart feels, or think outside the box with it as well, and what could happen, and the different strategies and everything. Laporte is one that he's 1 million cheaper than Cancelo. 4 goals and 2 assists. So that was last season. He was getting everything. I had him for the majority of that, and he was just picking up them returns, aerial threat, and I think he's basically nailed on him and Diaz, and I feel like save you $1 million, you'll get that City asset in, like we're talking about as well with the fixtures, guys. West Ham, look at the fixtures. They couldn't have asked for a more easier start, could they? I mean, Spurs will probably be difficult, but first 10 games look a lot like they could get a lot of clean sheets. They could do. So I think if you want to save some money, save yourself an extra $1 million. Fair enough. Cancelo gets his returns and all that jazz. But Laporte will save you $1 million. He's relatively nailed on. Still gets returns as well. But yeah, another one as well is Andy Robertson. Just under 10%, 9.9%, 3 goals and 11 assists last season. Look at that. Look at his record. All the assists he's getting last few seasons. Absolute legend. Look at the bonus as well. I really do like Andy. I'm biased as hell, as you know. But I feel, you save yourself 0.5 if you downgrade Trent to Robbo. Maybe you want to go for both of them. Some people talking about Robbo versus Diaz. Save yourself $1 million. Just go for Trent, Robbo, and Salah. That triple up. Fair enough. But I think what we might need to be worried about is the whole rotation as well, with him and Tsimikas. Now, Trent might have it with namesake Calvin Ramsey. I have to say, but he'll gradually do that. Klopp, he won't obviously rush it straight away with Calvin Ramsey. But Robbo and Tsimikas, we know he probably gives Tsimikas more game time in the league. Who knows? And also we know with Champions League and all that jazz. Yeah, but I think there's some good fixtures here, some decent fixtures, and we've got a lovely, decent run. Same as City. But I think Robbo's, what he does, he gets those good returns, and it'll save you 0.5 instead of going for Trent, or save you $1 million if you don't want to go for Diaz. So yeah, so we're going to have a little scroll down to the midfield. I will timestamp these guys. Yeah, so we're going to the next bit now, and it is the midfield. Let's get this a bit further up. There we go, a bit more further up. And this is what, as you can see Fanals now. Fanals at 5.5, Bowen 8.5. Obviously, the price has put a lot of people off, including myself, but we know what Bowen can do. I'm sure in the first game against City, he returned big against City in a 2-2 draw at West Ham last season. I'm sure it was him. 12 goals and 17 assists last season. He's just under 10%. Was it like Robbo? We didn't talk about Janssen as well. How crazy is that? We'll get back to Janssen in a minute. But yeah, with West Ham assets, I just feel with the two of them, I think for now, everyone's looking at Neto. It is an interesting one because, like I'm going to show you as well as Fanals, we'll talk about Fraser. Well, actually, we'll talk about all three of them. So Fanals and Fraser both 5.5. Neto is 5.5. I don't get the hype with Neto. I don't get the hype. With Fanals and Fraser, Fraser, Eddie Howe really likes him. He's like Eddie Howe's golden boy. Good chemistry. He's going to keep starting games. I think the first 2 games are lovely for him. I really think Fraser more better than Neto, in my opinion. Wolves don't score many goals. Newcastle were having a great run in the second half of the season. Last season, Fanals is a differential punt. Last season, he got history-wise 6 goals and 4 assists last season, 2.2%. He's a differential if you want to go for him. He'll get some good games, might get some good points, probably not good Bowen. We look at as well. We'll go back to Fraser in here. I think with what we're saying about Fraser, He's got some good, decent stats to back him. He's got 2 goals and 5 assists, 4 assists before that. I'm not saying he's the greatest pick, but I think the way Newcastle are building and the first 2 fixtures are decent for Newcastle, and I would definitely target. I would fancy Fraser to get a return against Notts Forest in that game, in the first game, and I feel like he's a better pick, in my opinion, Fraser, than Neto. Bowen, if we go back to, still under the radar, like I said, 9.9%. Yeah, it's. I feel like maybe we are, but I think the price has put everyone off for sure. I'm not saying he can't score against City. I think he could well score against City again. He's got Notts Forest, Brighton, and Villa, and I feel like they're the games we probably would love to have Bowen in for sure. Definitely, we know what he can do, but it's just a shame it's his price that's put a lot of people off. Just a quick go back to Janssen. I have mentioned him before. 3 goals and 4 assists last season. Lovely fixtures from game week 3 until 11, should we say. And I feel like, for what he can get, big guy, big character, talked about him in my budget video. Definitely somebody to probably consider as a 4.5 for sure. Brentford second season now? I think it is. But maybe second season syndrome. You can see the bit of forward line now. We'll show the forwards as well. But back onto the midfield now. We're going to talk about Mahrez, Riyad Mahrez. He's got 11 goals, 7 assists. I know a lot of people are looking at him, Foden, maybe Grealish, not a great pick. KDB as an alternative to KDB, because people getting Haaland in there, they can't afford KDB. I'm struggling myself. Mahrez, one of those star 8 million picks. Everyone's talking about the Sakas, the Diaz, the Kuleveskis, and Madisons, and so on. I think Mahrez, if he does get the game time, but we know what he's like, he's very rotation. But there are some decent games, and when he can return big, can't he? Maybe against Bournemouth at home and Forest at home are decent. He's the screaming Mahrez returns. Hall maybe. I think if I had to choose between him or Foden, I'd pick Mahrez. Just because how clinical he is and a good finisher and everything, so much better finisher. Next one is on the midfield list is Harvey Barnes, just touching 5%. He's got 6 goals and 12 assists. He's 1 million cheaper than Maddison. Both kind of rotation last season because they did have Europe last season, but now they don't. They don't have Europe this season, both Barnes and Maddison. So maybe they'll keep starting. There's going to be less likely rotation. We know about the 5 sub rule, but I still think if you want to go for someone, I think Barnes is still worth that punt. I know Lookman's on that side as well, plays on the left, but Barnes saves you $1 million instead of getting Maddison in. Could be a decent shout to go for especially with the fixtures: Brentford, Arsenal, Southampton. First 3 pretty decent. They could go at Arsenal, who knows? But I think definitely Brentford and Southampton are 2 lovely ones to target. Moving on to the forward line, we've got see if we get this on the screen for you guys. We've got Wilson. We're definitely going to talk about him. He's 7.5 million, same as Watkins. 8 goals last season. Was hit with an injury or 2. Quite injury prone, Wilson, but if he stays fit, he's very clinical. He's very clinical as a striker. First 2 games are lovely, decent. Like I said with Fraser, they keep building that team, maybe get another attacker in and keep Wilson as that sole striker and get everything through him. He's going to get you the returns. So some people might want to play a 4-3-3, Jesus, Haaland, maybe a Wilson or Watkins, we'll get to in a minute. Or maybe just have the 2 up front with Haaland and maybe Wilson, something like that. So he's definitely a decent one. First 2 games are decent. And next one is Watkins at 7.5, 4.6%. Like I said about the fixtures, they got Bournemouth, Everton, Crystal Palace, pretty decent. 11 goals last season, 3 assists, then 14 goals the season before that, and 9 goals. So he's definitely somebody who definitely gets over 10 goals at least on average on season. Ollie Watkins, when he does stay fit. I think Ollie Watkins is a good shout for the first 3 games. If you want that Aston Villa attacker, they've got Bournemouth. Nearly promoted Bournemouth, and they got Everton. Nearly relegated last season, almost relegated. And Crystal Palace, who had a very good season, looked relatively tight at the back. And I believe they beat them. I'm sure they beat Palace last season. Then they drew 1-1 with them. I think they did. I think Watkins scored in one of those games too. So 3 teams good to target if you want to get someone like Watkins and definitely going under the radar. Last one is Geldhart. Depends if he's going to start or not, but he seems to be favoured by the manager quite a bit. Him and Bamford, there might be some idea, getting these young lads going as well. Training them up and experience. 1.1%. 2 goals and 4 assists to his name last season. We're getting quite a few games near the end last season under this new American manager. And I feel like 5.5, some people looking at Undav is not even proven yet for Brighton in the Premier League. Get yourself a Geldhart, Joey Geldhart. Could be a decent shout to go for if you're looking for that budget striker. I know a lot of people just getting Archer in for $1 million less, but he's not going to get game time. It depends how you're playing the game, guys. But that's the team. That's a team. The squad of players. That's it. But guys, anyway, I've enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments any players I possibly have missed out on, or let me know about what you thought about the players that I've added in here before the microphone starts to fall off the edge of the table. Do let me know, guys, in the comments what you thought of these players. Any of these players you're eyeing up, do let me know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I've been the FPL Penguin, and see you later.